All right, this is NorvellCentral coming back at you with another YouTube video after 2 weeks of absence. So this is a very, very important time for Florida State going forward, and there's a lot of news coming out for several different college football programs right now, but Florida State, especially on the recruiting side of things, has really not really been heating up as much as you would like. When you're looking at Florida State as a grand total, they are 16th overall in the country in 247 composite rankings. So it's okay, I guess. We have 6 hard commits, and Keith Sampson, Lamont Green Jr., Chris Parsons, Randy Pittman, Goldie Lawrence, and also Vandrevius Jacobs. So there are some potential in those 6 players, but definitely you need to get some more momentum. But the problem is Florida State in the last 5 seasons, they've really had a situation where they've combined for 26 and 33 of a combined record. So really what you're trying to do is gain a lot more momentum. And last season during the 22 cycle, they were able to get 7 commits in the month of June. So there is some optimism to see where most of that is. Most of the optimism is coming from Coach Atkins, the offensive coordinator / offensive line coach. He is getting a ton of offensive linemen coming into campus, specifically Lucas Simmons, who is a 4-star prospect out of Clearwater. He's actually from Sweden. I think is a big moment for him to be able to bring him in and everything. You got a guy like Roger Kearney, who I think is going to be a pivotal piece as well. So those are 2 huge guys. And then you got a guy like Luke Burgess, who I think is going to be a good guy as well. He's 6'7.5", 285. So there is a lot of potential in that room. And unlike last season, a lot of the blame was placed on Ron Dugans for not getting a wide receiver commit last season. And I totally understand that. That is unacceptable. He was able to get in those 4 transfer prospects and kind of soften the blow. But this is a huge year for the state of Florida and the state of Georgia, especially in the wide receiver realm. You've already got Goldie Lawrence and Vandrevius Jacobs already in the fold, and you're probably wanting to get 2 more. You're looking at a guy like Shelton Sampson Jr., and this is a guy that's from Baton Rouge who is basically an Alabama, LSU, Florida State battle at this point, and you're just trying to get in the mix. And that's a big commit that you can try to get. You also got a guy like Hakeem Williams, who I think is going to be a pivotal part as well. He just got to a 5-star out of Stranahan High School. He's actually teammates with Omar Graham Jr., and there's a lot of different pieces in that wide receiver room that you have to connect on. Now, you got a guy like Keelan Brown that I think could be a potential piece there. He's from the Tallahassee area, but just overall, you have to connect on 2 more prospects in that general area. But just overall, you have to have more pass rush. So everybody wants to talk about the Jermaine Johnsons and the Keir Thomases, and you're wanting to replace that production. Chances are you're not going to replace that production. You're not going to have a Jermaine Johnson come in right away. He's going to have to develop and grow and eventually groom into that player that you think he's going to be. But just overall, I think that Keldrick Falk, I think, is another guy, the defensive end room. I think it's going to be a really big pivotal piece there. You got a guy like Darren Reed, also from Carver High School in Columbus, Georgia. I think could be a big piece there as well. So Bakari Vickers, I think, from the safety spot, I think could be really big. You got to keep him in Tallahassee. Alabama's knocking at your door, so you don't want it to turn into another Terron Arnold situation. There's a lot of pivotal prospects that are going to be coming on campus this summer. And so far, you got a lot for June 24th, specifically Samuel Singleton as well from the Orange Park area. And you're just trying to find other pieces that go along with that. So really, when you're looking at it, maybe a Kylan Webb could be another option. He's going to be visiting on the 24th as well. And this is a big pivotal piece for me to watch out for is the linebacker room. Because you just saw Justin Cryer, he actually committed to Northwestern. Your options are starting to get slimmer and slimmer. Caleb Pavelli is going to be including Florida State in his top 5. Blake Nicholson, maybe from California, is another guy you can look at. But like I said, the linebacker board is just slowly trimming down. And you saw that last season with Wesley Basaint, kind of slipping on him and him eventually going to Miami and staying home. You had Omar Graham, who I think is a very talented linebacker, and you also were able to get Tatum Bethune in the transfer portal, but you're trying to find more options. And the thing is, with this recruiting board, as I alluded to before, when you aren't producing on the field and your 5-year production is just like it is right now, that's not going to help anything. And the coaches on the staff can only recruit as much as they can for the record says they are. So you're really trying to find different ways and creative ways to be able to do that. Now, will they have a Midnight Madness event on June 1st? Most likely not, because they're not going to repeat the same different things that they had before. And you want to see something that actually works and a good product. But the problem is now is you're trying to find that excitement. You got a guy like Miami and Florida over there with Cristobal and also Billy Napier, and they have more energy because they're first-year head coaches. They got the excitement rolling. They got the, the SEC money. They also, have different avenues they're trying to explore. Florida State was kind of behind the ball in NIL. Now they're getting back into it with the 3 NIL collectives, and you're just trying to find a way to be creative. Now, do I think that Florida State's really fallen behind the 8 ball in recruiting? Yeah, I do. I think the steam is more coming off because recruits are kind of in a wait-and-see mode, and they're trying to figure out what are you going to do next. And that's the biggest thing for Florida State going forward is you're trying to find out what can be successful for them going forward, and recruits want to see early success. So if they go out and they beat LSU in the second week of the season, that's going to be really exciting for them to be able to do that. They're going to be 1-0 for the first time, barring any crazy uncircumstance with Duquesne, but it's just going to be really exciting to see how Florida State kind of responds to kind of a lackadaisical 5-7 season for last season. So we're hoping that Florida State is able to kind of get back on the ball for recruiting. And I do like where the quarterback recruiting is going to be going because they have their quarterback in Chris Parson. Maybe you add a second body because you do have 3 scholarship quarterbacks. Maybe Jordan Travis leaves, whatever the case is. Running back wise, you got a talented 5 group of guys, and I think that they are pretty talented, but you need to add one more to that room. Wide receiver, like I said, you've already got 2 committed in a 12 scholarship room, and you're hoping to probably add 2 more, maybe even a third with a transfer. Tight end, I like what you have in Randy Pittman. If you want to add another elite option, I think that could be justifiable. Offensive line, I think you really need to get 2 tackles, at least 2 pure tackles. And Lucas Simmons, I think, is really good. The Owens kid, I think, could be a really good one as well. Kearney, I think, is going to be more of an interior offensive lineman. I do think he's very, very talented. So we'll definitely see how that goes. Atkins has really got the board stacking on that one. Defensive end, I think you got about 3 that you probably need to add with Lamont Green already in the picture. You're hoping that they can add some more there. Defensive tackle, you probably need to get 2 to 3, depending on if Cooper and Lovett, which I know Cooper is going to be leaving, but if Lovett does decide to leave, that could be another obstacle that you have to face. Darren Reed would be perfect, but the problem is with him, he's battling Ohio State, and that's going to be another challenge of its own. Then you go to the linebacker board. Like I said, the linebacker board's kind of slim, so you're trying to figure out other ways to be successful. You have 7 scholarship linebackers right now, so you're looking for more bodies that you can add to that room. Blake Nicholson could be a guy that you can think of, Caleb LaValle, but you got to add more depth, and you got to be able to expand that board, and this summer is going to be really pivotal for them to be able to do that. Quarterback position, I think you're setting yourself kind of thin right now because of some of the options that you have. There's not really a whole lot out there that I can really say that Florida State's really, really in high on. Overall safety board, I think Makari Vickers, I think, is your number 1 target there. Cameron Upshaw is another one that I think that could be there. Jeremiah Anglin. There's just a lot of options that you could really turn to, but the problem is just trying to piece it all together. I think Marcus Woodson is a very good recruiter. I think he's probably 3rd or 4th on the coaching staff in terms of recruiting. I think Norvell is probably number 1 or number 2. Alex Atkins is up there as well. And then you're also trying to find different ways to be able to be successful. So really, I think Odell's in that top tier of group, but he's got to land a couple more guys. But KJ Sampson was definitely a good get for him. Just overall, I think people are losing sight that Florida State really is 26-33 in their last 5 seasons. And I just hope that Florida State is able to kind of generate that momentum into this season, be able to get at least 3-1, 4-1 going into their first 5 or 4 games. And I think it could be beneficial for them going forward. Maybe the recruits can see the biggest side of things for Florida State going forward because they are once a proud program. They do have 3 national championships under their belt. They have been commanding the ACC until later on when Clemson started getting into the factor. But just overall, I think Florida State's got to do a better job in basically expanding their board and not really being selective in some of their targets. And hope everyone has a great rest of the day. And as always, go Noles.